Hey everybody, it's Dr. Osborne, founder of Gluten Free Society, today posing the question, is it gluten or is it something else? And so let's dive into what I'm referring to. There are a number of research studies where we've been studying another family of components found in grain, particularly something called an amylase trypsin inhibitor. So as you look here, nutritional wheat amylase trypsin inhibitors promote intestinal inflammation. And so in this particular study published in the journal Gastroenterology, gluten-containing cereals have by far the highest concentration of ATIs, again, that's amylase trypsin inhibitor, that activate TLR4. Now we're going to come back to what that means in a minute. TLR4 stands for toll-like receptor. So without trying to bore you to death with science jargon, what I want you to understand is that this chemical, this non-gluten related chemical found in grain, activates a receptor inside of human intestines that creates intestinal inflammation. And so important to understand that because many of you have gone to the doctor, you've been tested for gluten sensitivity, you've been tested to see whether you have a problem with it, and your test came back negative, and you have been told to continue to eat it, but when you eat it, you still feel bad. And so what I'm trying to explain to you is this could be the reason why you feel bad, why you're still having inflammation, even though your test came back normal. Now, here's another research study published in the Journal of Experimental Medicine. Wheat amylase trypsin inhibitors drive intestinal inflammation via activation of TLR4, toll-like receptor 4. Again, same thing. We're just seeing another study confirming it. So again, these findings define that cereal ATIs are novel contributors to celiac disease. Moreover, they may fuel inflammation and immune reactions in other intestinal as well as non-intestinal immune disorders. So just like gluten can affect other organs and other tissues, ATIs can drive inflammation in the intestine, but they can also drive inflammation in other tissues as well. Now here's another study on from Frontiers in Immunology, brand new study on wheat amylase trypsin inhibitors increasing in immunostimulatory potential. In essence, these amylase trypsin inhibitors found in all gluten-containing cereals, therefore ingredient of basic foods like bread or pasta in the gut, ATI can mediate innate immunity via activation of TLR4 receptors. So again, redundancy here, showing you though, it's not one small study finding this, it's multiple research studies identifying that this chemical called ATI can trigger inflammation in your gut and in other tissues through something called a toll-like receptor. So what is a toll-like receptor? What is TLR4? Well, here's a very scientific explanation of what a TLR4 is. I'm going to simplify it with this diagram. This diagram, borrowed from Nature Reviews in Immunology, shows the structure of a TLR4 receptor, TLR4 up here at the top. Now, what happens is that ATI will come and it will dock onto this TLR4 receptor and activate it. That starts this long cascade, and if we just follow it down, look what happens. We end up here with NF-kappa beta, which promotes inflammation. So we start up here by stimulating this receptor. We end down here with pro-inflammatory cytokines, meaning basically we're stimulating the inflammatory cascade of response. So if you're reacting to these ATIs and you're eating them in your diet on a daily basis, then the outcome is going to be a pro-inflammatory reaction that becomes chronic. And when that inflammation becomes chronic, it can damage your tissue and create problems for you. So what's the causal agent? Some say gluten, but some people get gluten tested and their results are negative, right? So what are some other potential possibilities? Well, in this scenario, what I've just shown you is that amylase trypsin inhibitors, ATIs for short, can also trigger the immune system, creating inflammation. Now, that's the reason why I wrote No Grain, No Pain. If you look at the title, it says No Grain, No Pain, because it's not just gluten. No Grain, No Pain is not just another book about going gluten-free. It's about grain, and one of the components found in grain that triggers an inflammatory response independently of gluten is called an ATI. So hopefully that's helpful for you, especially those of you who are struggling with whether or not you should be going grain-free, and you've been tested for celiac disease and your test came back negative, and you've been tested in your blood for gluten sensitivity, and that test came back negative. It just might be ATIs. So, as always, comment and subscribe, like this video, and share your experience below. Look, if you've had negative testing on gluten sensitivity, but you find that you do better without grain, share your experience. Your experience might help somebody else. And as always, our goal at Gluten Free Society is to help change 100 million lives, save 100 million lives. So share your experience. You might help somebody, even a stranger that you don't even know. This is Dr. Osborne, wishing you excellent health. We'll see you in the next video.